Okay, it seems that we are all present and accounted for. Guys, today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects in cinematography, storyboarding. And how many of you like comic books? Nobody. And the rest of you don't like comic books. Let me tell you something. I love comic books. I adore them. I love them. For me, they unite the best of two medias. It's like combining a book with a movie. A movie is a visual experience. Reading is a literary experience. Well, for me, comic books, they just unite the best of two worlds. So I just love comic books. I always have, and I'm an avid comic book collector. I used to be an artist. I would like to share a little something that I did many years ago. It's a project I was working on. You can see that. It's a little gruesome short story that I read, and I decided to adapt it into a comic book. So anyway, this is some older stuff. These are what you saw there are copies. These will be the original ones from another work I was doing. This is an original piece of artwork. Well, anyway, I don't draw like that anymore because I don't draw anymore. And they say that when you don't use it, guess what? You lose it. So nowadays, I barely draw stick people. No, I can do a little bit better than stick people. But the reason that I'm showing this to you is because we're going to be talking about storyboards today. And what's a storyboard? Well, you saw what a comic book is like, right? They have images, they have captions, which are blocks of text that give a narration. They have word balloons or thought balloons. And word balloons is where you put dialogues, and thought balloons is where you put like it looks like a little puff of smoke coming out of someone's head to show what someone is thinking. So those of you that read comic books are familiar with that. So what does that have to do with storyboards? Well, storyboard is basically like a comic book, but without the captions, without the word balloon, and without the thought balloon, just the images. And you're seeing an example there. Can anybody recognize from what movie that would be? And what are they doing? And what movie do they fight? And Avengers, the first one, the first Avengers movie. This is the scene in the woods, the forest in Germany, when they arrested Loki. And Thor wanted to take him back to Asgard. So they had a little fight, and the fight was stopped by Captain America. You guys remember that? So here you're seeing a drawing of that before the movie was shot. And if you look at it, They look almost exactly like what we ended up seeing. I'm sorry. Exactly. So storyboard are very important. Planning, which is what pre-production is all about, is critical. It's crucial. Some people don't like planning, and that is a mortal, a grave mistake. Can you imagine an athlete going to the Olympic Games without training? Can you imagine that? Would that would that even be a possibility? Oh, I'm going to the Olympic Games, but I'm sitting here eating cake, watching Netflix. I'm not training. Can you imagine that? Because I can't. If you're going to the Olympic Games, guess what? You're dieting, you're running, you're training day in, day out. That's your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're preparing for an athletic event. Well, guys, when you're going to make a movie, it's the same thing. You're preparing, 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 preparing. So when you begin shooting the movie, everything runs as smooth as possible. I say as smooth as possible because if I've learned anything in life is it doesn't matter how well you plan things. Usually, doesn't matter how well you plan things. Usually, your plans never come out the way you planned them. But is it better to have a plan or not to have a plan? What do you say? It's better to have a plan. It's always better to have a plan and not a plan, but plans. Plan A, plan B, and have options. And that way be prepared. So preparedness is critical in a movie production. And the script might not be enough. We know that the script is the foundation of the movie, and that everybody who's going to be working on the movie needs a copy of the script. But that's not enough. That's the beginning. We have to take that script and we have to break it down into a storyboard because a storyboard helps us discover problems with the story before you start filming. There are things you might not realize when you're reading words uh, because you can write whatever you want. But then when you draw it, you start seeing the something that you probably would have not noticed. You can go like, wait a minute, like this looks good on paper, but we made a drawing and here it's not looking good. We're gonna have to make adjustments. So storyboarding is a very critical tool in getting prepared to shoot a movie. Um, and everybody should be able to, everybody involved in the filming of a movie should be able to look at a storyboard. I believe in storyboarding. Some directors do not believe in storyboarding. I am a firm believer in storyboarding. Some directors don't storyboard. Fine. That's if it works for them, more power to them. Some directors believe in storyboarding every single shot of the movie, the entire movie. And that might be necessary in some movies, but not in all movies. And some directors, they storyboard some parts of their movies. I'm one of those. I think that most movies do not need to be completely storyboarded because storyboarding is also time consuming, but it is a great tool. You know what? I usually, when I'm shooting a movie, I bring a copy of the script with me. But you know what? I consult more than the script, the storyboard, because I love reading. I am a reader, but I am a very visual person. Usually, people that are very visual don't like reading. But I'm a rare bird. I'm very visual, but I love reading, and I read every day. I'm a reader, and when I'm shooting a movie, what I have in my hand is not the script usually. It's a storyboard. And it is a great tool. It helps you save time like crazy because you don't get to to the location to shoot the movie, scratching your head, thinking, okay, how am I going to shoot that? No, you already know. You know, because the shot is composed there. All the elements that you're going to shoot are in the storyboard already. So you don't have to like waste time explaining to the camera person what to do. All you have to say is, all you have to say is, look, that's what I want. What you see there. Does this make sense to you guys? Okay, so look at the storyboard. You can see it begins down here. No, I'm sorry, it begins here. No, wait a minute. No, it begins here because these two frames are superimposed. That means that one moves to the other. Noted that we begin the shot with a woman down a flight of stairs in what looks like a foyer or a corridor or something like that. And there is an arrow. What do you think that arrow indicates? That she's gonna go up the stairs. The camera will be static. Static means that the camera will not move, and she's gonna move to that side of the frame. And then when she arrives to the landing of the staircase, notice that the next frame is like a continuation of this one. That means that the shot will continue. The camera will not stop. It's going to be recording her as she goes up the flight of stairs. She's going to take a turn. She's going to walk down that corridor. And what's the camera going to do? What's the instruction there? Can anybody read that? What does that mean? That's tilting. And the camera, you see what my hand is doing? That is tilting. You can tilt down or you can tilt up. Tilting. So the camera is pointing down. It's like a low angle shot. And as she goes up the flight of stairs, the camera tilts, and then it becomes a full shot. As she walks away from the camera, then you can see there's another arrow there. That means that she's going to bend because she's going to go up another flight of stairs. And there, when she goes up and disappears, that's where the camera stops. Is that understandable, guys? Is that clear? Can you see the clarity that comes from using a storyboard? That clarity is not in the script. The script says that that's going to happen. But here we're seeing how it's going to happen. So if you're going to go and shoot that scene and you have this, dude, if you mess it up, you don't belong in the movie. You should like resign because it's hard to mess that up. Don't you think so? And then there's going to be another shot. The next shot is when she pauses there. We have a full body shot, and then she's going up the flight of stairs. So we have two shots basically. We have an extended shot, and then we have this one shot. And this one is static. This one is static at the beginning, but then it becomes dynamic because dynamic means that the camera is moving. Now it's not immobile now. Now it's tilting. So as when a camera moves, that's the hardest kind of shot. You have to be very careful. Careful. They have to be very well planned. Okay, so the storyboard, as you can see, is an invaluable tool. Here we have more storyboarding. So before shooting a scene, you need to take time to think about the shots and the angles that you want, and you can show that in a storyboard. Now, remember that once the script is written, the next step is to make a storyboard. A storyboard visually tells the story panel by panel, kind of like a comic book. And your storyboard should have the following information. For example, what characters are in the frame and how are they moving if they are moving? They could be sitting down, but what if they're walking or running or fighting or whatever? What are the characters saying to each other, if anything? You're not going to write down what they're saying, but you're going to show them like talking. How much time has passed between the last frame of the storyboard and the current one? Because there's something called continuity. Each time we see a different frame, that denotes the passage of time. It can be immediate time, it can be a large lapse of time. That could be minutes, hours, days, years. And another thing you need to think about is, where is the camera in the scene? Remember that what you draw is what the camera is seeing. Eventually, it's what the camera will see. How close it is, how far away from your subject. Is it going to be moving? Is it going to be static? All those things are things that you need to consider before you draw storyboards. Does anybody recognize this storyboard? This is a very famous panel right there. The first Star Wars movie. That's even before they fixed the script. First, the movie was called the Star Wars, not Star Wars, the Star Wars, and you can see that it says the up there. So that's at the beginning of Star Wars when you have that introduction where you have this text that is crawling away from you, giving you like the background of the story. So they storyboarded that, as you can see there. And when you make a storyboard, you can show it around to get feedback. Maybe some people will tell you that it's great. Maybe some people will tell you that no, that there's a better way. And guess what? If someone tells you there's a better way and they are correct, guess what? They're doing you a favor, right? They're doing you a favor and you can fix it. Storyboard helps with what we call visual continuity. Visual continuity in a movie, without it, if you didn't have visual continuity, the movie will be a series of unnatural, jarring moments that take the audience out of the illusion that your movie is depicted in real life. Storyboards can be consulted to avoid discrepancies from shot to shot. It helps clarify a lot of things. And it allows various scenes to be shot out of order but still maintain an uninterrupted succession of the flow of events in the film. So notice here we have an establishing sequence. An establishing sequence is usually what you see usually at the beginning of a movie, or it can be shown in another part of a movie. Maybe you have changed scenes and you need to reestablish that you're somewhere else, right? Like, for example, you have a movie where people are traveling. Like in the James Bond movies, for example, he travels all around the world. He can be in China today and in Mexico tomorrow. So you need to show that with an establishing sequence. And every movie usually begins with an establishing sequence. You can see here, for example, the first shot is what? Buildings. Then the next thing that we see is a corridor and a person walking away from the camera. What is that telling us? What's the relationship between this scene, this shot, and this shot? Exactly, that corridor isn't that building. That's the message that we receive. That's what the visual language tells us. We see a building, then we see a corridor. Okay, that corridor cannot be in his house because they showed us a building. So that is what continuity is, guys. That's what visual continuity is. Then we have another shot, but this time the camera is at a different location. It shows him coming to the camera and then going towards an office door. So what is this scene probably communicating to us? Exactly, exactly. Maybe he's going to have some type of a meeting at his job, or maybe he's going to consult, I don't know, his lawyer or something, something like that, probably work related. Not that he's home. And I can't imagine seeing that and then show him playing basketball. That would make sense, right? That would not make that would not be part of what visual continuity is. Okay, so visual continuity is the sense that we get from seeing different shots and the relationship that, even though the shots are different, have between each other. So that's one of the things that the storyboard is going to help with that visual continuity. It's important that storyboard has three elements. One has to do with framing. Is it going to be wide, full, American, close? The other one has to do with camera angle. Is it going to be eye level? Is it going to be a Dutch shot? Is it going to be full frame, mid frame? Um, what type of angle is it? And the other one is movement. Is the camera panning? Is it tilting? Is it a push, which we call trucking, or is it a pull, which we also call tracking? Is it zoom? All those instructions have to be in the storyboard. Okay, with the way that you draw the frame, and the arrows help a lot. Remember that you're not putting words. Okay, here is a storyboard of a movie called Inception. It's my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but this is a scene where the two guys are fighting and they're rolling around the walls and the ceiling and all that because they are in a dream world. Has anybody seen Inception? No. Let me show you what this scene looks like in the movie. This is not the scene yet. We're getting close to the scene that you saw storyboarded. Okay, this is the scene, guys. Okay, so did you see that, guys? Okay, you can see that was a very complicated scene to shoot. Maybe you don't have an idea what's going on. You will have to see the movie to understand what's going on. It's about entering people's dreams, and according to the movie, there are different levels of dreaming of dreams, and one affects the other. So I'm sorry. It's fantastic. It's my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. It's called Inception, about spies that spy on people's minds and people's dreams. And this scene that you can see here is the scene inside the hotel room where they're tumbling and rolling around the walls and the ceiling and all that. They had to build a special stage that actually turned around, and they had to choreograph the whole thing, but that's another story. I just wanted to show you the relationship between the storyboard and the final result. The storyboard like this was completely necessary to visualize what was going to happen. If you check out the PowerPoint, you will see another type of storyboard that is called an animatic. And this one is from a scene from Avengers, also the one where a Black Widow jumps on one of the Chitauri sleds, and she starts fighting with them over New York City. And it's a storyboard, but it's animated, and that is another tool, right? But that's a much more sophisticated tool. But studios can do that. They can afford to do animatics, and they can do that. They are usually in black and white to give you an idea of what the scene is going to look like, what's the choreography, how the action is going to flow, and they can do that before the movie is shot to see if it's going to work or not. There's another example of an animatic there. There's a link. If you check out the PowerPoint, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. And there's another type of storyboard known as the photomatic. Instead of with drawings, it's like an animatic, but with photos, with pictures. And it's another way of also organizing what the scenes are supposed to look like. Today, you will not be doing a reshoot activity. You will be engaging your final portfolio activity for the semester. And you're going to make a storyboard. The sheet that you see there, I call it a shopboard sheet. And that shopboard sheet is in my website. Find it, download it, print it. And what I want you to do is, you know, that's a screenplay that you guys wrote with your team. Yes. Okay, everybody has a copy of it, right? Everybody's supposed to have a copy. If there's someone that does not have a copy of that screenplay, you need to send her a copy, please, today. Okay? Anybody else does not have it. So everybody else has it. Okay, so Olivia needs a copy ASAP, as soon as possible. And what you're going to do with the screenplay is you're going to choose a scene from your screenplay. What scene? I don't care what scene, it's up to you. But I want you to take that scene and break it down into 5 shots. That a scene from your script. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels. You're gonna draw 5 shots to break down that scene. And next to it, you can write details, information of what camera angle you want, how the camera is going to move, things like that. But in these panels that you see here, these panels, we need to see a drawing of what the scenes look like. Do you understand what you're going to do? Yeah, it's individual, yeah. But you're going to take that script that you wrote as a group, of which everyone should have a copy, because everyone should have a copy. You go to my website, you download this document, print it, you're going to draw it, and then you're going to scan it and send it to me through my email. I'm sorry? A shopboard. It's on the top of the page, the shopboard. You know where I have all my documents at the top of the page. There you'll find it. It's individual. I want to see how each one of you interprets the script, because if you're going to make a drawing, you have to make an interpretation what that scene looks like to you. You look at the script, choose a scene, and break it down into 5 shots, the entire scene. Questions? In our next meeting, we're going to be talking about the casting process, casting actors. We've been talking about the crew very much, but now we have to get in front of the camera. And we're going to talk about the people that are going to be in front of the camera. That's the actors. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the activity. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. And we have days of Thanksgiving in front of us. Make sure that you appreciate all God's blessings to you. We live in difficult times, but we have a lot to be thankful for, right?